Tom said, my name is Josh Stevens. I'm CTO with BackBox. I have with me here Hanok Better, Marmerstein,
Very good.
our director of product. As Tom mentioned, this is our second time at BackBox to present with Tech Field Day. We did this about 6 or 8 weeks ago. Personally, this is my fourth time to present within a Tech Field Day. I'm a 30-year veteran as a network engineer and cybersecurity specialist. You might know me from one of my early deals. I was one of the founding team members at SolarWinds and then an early team member at iTential. And so I've been in the networking industry a long time, building products like this, and super excited today to be able to share with you what BackBox has been doing. It's a fantastic product that I had not seen before about 2 years ago when we discovered them. Let's go ahead and get going. So why network automation and why now? Well, I remember as an early network engineer, one of the things that we did to maintain stability and security on the network is we resisted change as much as we could. We would upgrade OSs on firewalls and routing and switching devices once or twice a year when we really needed to. We would do our best to lock down changes to change windows on the weekends, limit downtime. But today's enterprises are fluid. They require constant change. And the number of CVEs being introduced, at last count, several thousand per month, make it very difficult to manage upgrades at scale on a large network. Specifically upgrades for equipment that requires a complex workflow to do the upgrade correctly. So that's part of what we focus on here at BackBox. Recently, we commissioned a survey with Wakefield Research where we interviewed network engineers and operators around the world about the current state of their network and how things are going for them as an operational manager of an enterprise network. 92% of those respondents said that they have more changes needed for the network than they can possibly accomplish. They're getting farther behind every single month and they don't have an end in sight. 61% of those people said they can only update devices quarterly at most, whereas in many cases you want to do those updates at least monthly for OSs. We can go to the next slide. I won't read all of these data points. I'll provide them here on the screen to you as an audience, but suffice to say that in general, network teams are struggling with not enough resources, not enough hours in the day, a tremendous amount of change that needs to be injected to the network, but also a requirement the network must be very reliable, very secure, and performant at all times. In modern times, with SaaS applications, with the network's down, you really can't function at all. So how do you do that? Well, the answer is automation. And I'm sure that many people in the room have worked with network automation platforms before. Maybe you've worked with Ansible or used Python to write automation scripts. We're going to talk about that today and what our product does and how it's different. So, introducing the BackBox Network Automation Platform. BackBox was founded in Israel in 2009 as an MSP. And early in BackBox's history, they were managing firewalls for a very large credit card provider. And they experienced an outage where they needed to restore the backups onto new hardware. And that was an unfortunate time for them to find out that their backups hadn't been working and they didn't have a good backup. And that resulted in an extended outage for that credit card provider. The founders thought, this is really interesting. We could probably find a product that would provide this sort of automated backup and restore capability and provide this to our customers as a service, as an MSP. They searched the market, didn't find a product they liked, and decided to build one. Over time, the company shifted. The MSP business was segregated and moved away, and BackBox became a software company. Originally, it was built to focus on automating firewall backups and restores for checkpoints, and very rapidly expanded to other automation use case and other vendors. Today, we support almost 200 vendors, and we manage over 100,000 networks worldwide. We're sold in over 70 countries. A lot of our business is in Europe, as the company was headquartered in Israel until a little less than 2 years ago. They took a Series A financing from Elsewhere Partners in August of 21. We moved headquarters to Dallas, Texas, with an experienced go-to-market team that knows how to really grow a software company and move us to the next level. R&D is still in Tel Aviv. That's where Hanok lives. And it's a big part of our heritage as a cybersecurity company. And by the way, if there are any questions, please don't be shy about interrupting.
Do you list your automations and your vendor support on your website?
We do. We do list the automations and vendor support on the website. Great question. So at a very high level, what's different about BackBox is that we believe that most organizations struggle to find enough network engineers to get the job done. Whether it's finding them or paying for them, it's a very hard to find skill set. That skill set becomes even more unique when you add a network engineer with cybersecurity skills and background, able to do security and firewalls and things. If you ask to also find someone with those two skill sets and Python coding skills, you're looking for a striped unicorn. And those things are very, very difficult to find. And what we find is that many network automation platforms give you a framework to build from, but you're still writing a lot of code. And the assumption with many of those products is that once you acquire the platform and begin to implement it, you'll assign 2 to 4 people or more to that platform forever to maintain and build those automations because you're building a pipeline. At BackBox, we operate differently. At BackBox, we believe that network engineers should focus on managing the network. And rather than having a product that you'll spend 2 to 4 people full time to manage, we provide a product that you'll probably spend an hour a day or less managing. We build the automations into the product so they're easy to manage through a GUI. You don't have to write code. If you'd like to write code and extend it, you certainly can. But what most of our customers do is they call us when they need a custom automation, and we have a network automation as a service team that builds those automations for our customers as part of our service offering. Assuming it's a simple automation we can do in a few hours or less, we do that for free as part of the offering. If they need something more expansive or something that's very specific to that customer environment, we can spin up a professional services engagement. That rarely happens. It's usually something we can build in. That's true for both new automations and new device support. Those things are very easy for us to add, and we add new devices and new automations every single week. A big part of our focus is on best-in-class backup and restore. We'll demo that in just a minute. We also focus a lot around OS updates with vulnerability intelligence data to help you prioritize those updates. We focus on automations around audit and remediation of compliance for configurations, CIS, NIST, STIGs, PCI, HIPAA, those types of things.
I have a quick question. You just mentioned you look at the updates and prioritize them based on findings. So do you use like different threat intelligence feeds, and do you also look at the cost of implement or deploying any updates and prioritize them that way, or how do you?
Those are great questions.
Yeah, like an engine-based solution that just pulls it and kind of is like, okay, wait a minute.
So we're going to demo that. That's the product that we're sneak peeking. We're doing a pre-release and showing it for the first time today. And the way the product works is it collects that data from several sources, NIST and others that store CVE information. It ingests the data, uses some machine learning, and then it provides that in the console. So you get a list of the devices, their OS levels, all of the CVEs with that levels, whether those things are being exploited in the wild actively, and then also shows you the path to get to where you need to be. One thing it does not do that you asked about today is the cost part of it. It's something I hadn't even thought about until you said it just now. So
Nothing necessarily like the cost, but also like the time it would take. And I mean, cost is always, everybody wants to know the cost whenever you're doing anything, but also the complexity. Like I know there are some other products out there that not identical, but they do look at things like, how hard would it be to implement this? Is this a quick win, or is this something that's going to take months?
Exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, and we do the same thing. The other thing that we do, and we're working to improve this, but in many cases, when you have a critical CVE for a firewall, for example, it may be that that CVE only applies to a specific network service. And if you can't upgrade that device right then, you may be able to disable that service temporarily, and then once you've upgraded, re-enable that service. Those types of automated workflows are easy to build in the BackBox. We can go on to the next slide, I think. A few of our valued customers, we service both MSPs and enterprise buyers around the world. You can see some of the brands there, but very, very well-respected companies that love the product. This is mostly as a reference, but these are 3 case studies I thought I might share of customers that have implemented BackBox and been loyal to us for several years. Hanok, would you want to talk about these just a little bit?
Yeah, so we get a lot of customers, like Travelix. They have different needs, different size of enterprises. We get a lot of requests, our major customers are financial customers. And when you go to a customer like this, an enterprise like this, they have a lot of requests. They have different requests for MSPs that you go for. We try to automate and bring the value of automation to all these types of customers. And they actually find us matching to all their requirements. So take enterprise. Enterprise is more worried about backup and restore of configuration. And MSP will maybe be more worried about task automation and onboarding new customers and adhering to compliance that they have in the company. But so different automation, different use cases, but matching most of those customers. So financial institutions, healthcare, as I said, MSPs,
A lot of energy companies.
Yeah, yeah.
We're finding a lot of regulated industries are seeking out products like these right now for compliance. We just added, I think it was 800 new CIS automations this year so far. So this year we've added new automations for Fortinet, Checkpoint, and Cisco,
Yeah.
and we have Juniper on the way.